How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today's the day the Fed speaks in just a few hours, giving the next interest rate decision. But we have a lot of news that's come out over the last 24 hours. We have a major exchange that has been halting withdrawals. They hold a lot of cryptocurrency. We also have news from Binance US. They are not going to have to freeze their assets. Not making you wait on that one. They're not going to have to freeze their assets yet, but they are working with the SEC where they could freeze part of the assets. We'll go over that. Also want to cover some of the really good news that has come out this morning. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on that bell notification underneath the video. That's all I ask from you. If you do want to see what I'm buying and selling, you can check out the link underneath the video to the Patreon. So the NASDAQ has been on an absolute tear over the last month, up 10%. We know that there are about 10 companies that are moving up. They're accounting for about 95% of the gains. Year to date, up 31%. Now, crypto has been kind of uncorrelated. I think this is largely due to some of the regulatory fear, some of the problems getting money actually into the crypto ecosystem, the cutoffs or choke point 2.0 that has been happening. It's been just more difficult for people in general to invest. The bigger money is just worried about investing in this asset class in general. Now, at the same time, everything's gotten pretty much better on the macro. We know CPI came in yesterday lower than expected. And for everyone that wished me well yesterday, because I was not feeling well, I said that in both the videos, I really appreciate it. I feel a lot better here today, just to be clear. But the trueflation number came in today at 2.54%, the lowest year to date by about 0.2%. So this is a huge decrease in inflation. And then what we got today was the PPI. And the PPI was much lower than expected. So we actually got a 0.3% drop from last month versus 0.1% expected, or a negative 0.1%. So it was much lower than expected. And we also got the last month revised down. At the same time, core PPI also was lower than expected. So this is great news. Great news for the market. This is a leading indicator. So this would, in theory, bring down CPI in the future. So this is really causing a lot of people to think that the Fed is going to pause. Now, typically, a pause is bullish. Now, when they start lowering rates, that can be bearish. Of course, this time could be different. It usually isn't different, but the fact is we have seen an inverted yield curve and the market has not crashed. We have not gone into a massive recession. But this time could be different where they are actually able to lower rates without the market freaking out. But typically, after there's actually a Fed pause, assets move up. We could see Bitcoin become more correlated with the NASDAQ, which I think will be the case over time, right? The SEC threw pretty much everything it could at crypto over the last week and a half. And Bitcoin went down to 26,000. That's it. Down 2.8% over the last 7 days. Altcoins obviously fell down more, but I would not be surprised if they became correlated again, especially as we move further away from this week. That's just my expectation, but we'll have to see. The NASDAQ still doing extremely well. We'll see later how the Fed puts it, but I'm guessing they're going to say that they are still open to interest rate increases. They want to talk hawkish, so that way the market doesn't have some blow off top or anything like that. They don't want to be forced to raise interest rates more, but they are willing to. The market is still pricing in the fact that they may be doing that in the next meeting, but as of now, it's about 95% certainty that they are not going to raise today. We got some news on Binance US. They denied the Binance US asset freeze. Now, what they did say was that the two sides should come together and agree on a compromise. Binance has indicated that they are willing to agree to some form of asset freeze in Binance US as long as they're still able to take on ordinary course of business, which would include allowing customer withdrawals. The two sides will define a more realistic timeline for determining discovery and rest of case. The SEC tried to force this very quickly, basically just giving them a few days, trying to cause maybe a bank run. But Binance US handled it. They were able to process withdrawals. I haven't seen anything about people not getting their crypto out, not getting their US dollars out or anything like that. So overall, Binance, I think, passed the test again. Now, maybe they've done some sketchy stuff. We'll have to see. That will come out in court. But as of now, it seems like they passed another test and Binance continues to live on. Good news for Binance and the whole crypto industry. However, there was news today of Delio, which is essentially like a Korean BlockFi or Celsius, and they are halting deposits. I'll be honest, I hadn't heard about them till today, but apparently they hold $1 billion in Bitcoin, 200 million in Ethereum, and they claim 8.1 billion in alts. Now, I don't think this is necessarily correct. There might be some kind of translation issue or something like that. It just seems really weird that they would have $1 billion in Bitcoin, 200 million in Ethereum, and then $8 billion of alts in USD. That seems like a very large number compared to the Bitcoin. Typically, we see more Bitcoin and Ethereum relatively in a ratio, but we'll have to see how this progresses. Obviously not good news for anyone that has their crypto on that platform. Now, the reason this could be so devastating is because if they were lending it out and they lost money, they might not have all the crypto to back it up, just like we saw with BlockFi and Celsius. Then they could actually have to dump some crypto. There could be a variety of different things that have to happen. But for a lot of people, they might just not get their crypto back and they might end up selling off other crypto because they may need liquidity. So overall, this could influence the market. As of now, though, it's kind of unclear how much it could and when this will influence the market. So I wouldn't be too worried unless you have your crypto on this exchange. As always, I think you should take your crypto off exchanges. It's just better safe than sorry. I personally think that Trezor is a great option. Ledger's probably a pretty good option too. I prefer Trezor, though. They are open source. There are other options out there, but I think those are the best for cold storage wallet solutions. Of course, a hot wallet can be used too. I think that makes sense for just smaller amounts of your crypto, maybe a couple percent. But let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Obviously, the market could be moving a lot today based on what comes out from the Fed. I think, though, it's probably going to be a bit of a nothing burger, just to be clear. Well, I'll make a video if it's not, but overall, I think it's pretty obvious what they're going to say. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath in the comment section, though. Let me know if you are buying this narrative that the market's just going to rip from here. I want to be careful a little bit because everyone is turning bullish. And I've been happy to buy over the last year and a half, whether it's crypto or stocks. I've been buying and piling in. As we got more bearish, I continue to buy. But when everyone's bullish, it makes me just a little bit more cautious. So just be careful out there. If you're buying the assets that are going up 100, 200, 300% this year, you might want to just be careful because typically people get over bullish, get a little bit greedy, and then there are pullbacks. So just make sure you have some cash on the sidelines. But to be clear, though, I'm not bearish on this market. I'm still dollar cost averaging. I'm just looking for the assets I still think are undervalued. And honestly, when crypto's been pretty much sideways, had no volatility, the SEC's thrown everything that they can at crypto, and it's barely moved down. And at the same time, the NASDAQ has raced up. It makes me think that Bitcoin's a little bit undervalued. Crypto may be a bit undervalued, to say the least. But let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. As always, I want to remind you, be careful in the comment section. Be careful through email. Be careful on Instagram or Twitter. I will never reach out to you. I will never reach out to you and ask you how your trading is going, ask you to send me anything. No other influencer will do that either. If they do, or if it seems like they are, it's probably a scammer who's trying to take your money. So don't follow that. Don't allow that to happen.